Since January 2021, NIO stock price has been in a long-term downtrend, falling 94% over the last 3 years, into the recent low of $3.61. However, NIO's long-term business plans remain strong, with its battery swapping technology making it a unique EV manufacturer. And NIO's valuation is very attractive. The current stock price of around $4 is roughly 1 times consensus of its total revenue in 2024, which is low considering that revenues are projected to grow by over 20% this year and 40% next year. The key question for investors is whether NIO has found a bottom and is ready to move up and begin a new long-term bull run. In this video, I'll try and answer this question by analysing NIO's short-term chart data and offer my thoughts on NIO's future price direction. From a share price perspective, NIO has had a rapid rise and steady fall. Long-term, NIO has fallen 94% over the last 3 years, into the recent low of $3.61. For a company like NIO, the current price of around $4 looks like great value, but it's still not clear whether the price has stopped falling. Looking at the daily price action, we can see that NIO has tested the $3.60 level on multiple occasions, showing that this is a key support level over the medium term. From the low of $3.68 in August, buyers came in strongly, pushing up the price by over 100% into the peak during September. Following this short-term spike, price has now fallen back by almost 50% into the $4 low in January. Clearly, price has been trending downwards since the September high, with consecutive lower highs and lower lows. However, since the $4 low in January, buyers are showing interest, with the formation of a short-term uptrend confirmed by 2 higher lows and 2 higher highs. So, if price can break through the medium-term trend line, this would be the first indication that NIO may be about to move upwards and start a medium-term trend to the upside. For confirmation that $4 is the bottom and NIO is starting a new medium-term uptrend, we need to see the following technical indicators on the chart. First, we need to see a clear break above the medium-term trend line. Then a retest to check how committed the buyers are to the move to the upside. Now, based on price action, I'd like to see price break above $4.90 and then come back to test the selling interest. Let's not forget, at this new price level, any buyers who picked up NIO at $4 would now be around 20% in profit, so some may take this and move on. Hopefully, most buyers will see the greater upside potential and this level will hold firm. If price holds above $4.90 and then moves up, the next key level of resistance would be around $6. Then $7.70, which is the most recent peak. A short-term trade from the break and retest entry around $5 to the $7.70 price target would yield a strong return of around 50%. And more importantly for long-term investors, a price break above $7.70 would indicate that NIO is in a medium-term uptrend, heading for the next price target of $9.50. Of course, this scenario is all theoretical. We must wait for the chart to confirm each indicator one by one. For the patient investor, however, NIO will offer a great return once it starts its next bullish uptrend. If you found value in my short-term analysis of NIO, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks very much. NIO's valuation is very attractive. The current stock price of around $4 is roughly 1 times consensus of 2024 total revenues, which is low considering that revenues are projected to grow by over 20% this year and by over 40% next year. For comparison, Tesla trades at about 10 times revenues, even though revenues for Tesla are likely to remain almost flat this year. Currently, NIO's premium electric vehicles hold around 40% market share in China, and the company has improved profit margins recently. For Q3, vehicle gross margins came in at 13% compared to 11% during the same time last year. NIO also plans to become overall profitable by 2026. However, competition in the Chinese EV market is increasing, With its premium EV sales declining year over year, NIO has plans to target the lower price EV market by building more affordable vehicles. From a share price perspective, NIO has had a rapid rise and steady fall. When shares listed on the New York Stock Exchange in September 2018, the IPO was $6.26. After a price increase to $10.64 during February 2019, price then fell away to the low of $1.19 by October. Out of this low, price increased by 374%, peaking at $5.65 during January 2020. After a pullback towards $2, price then took off over the next 9 months, offering some lucky investors a potential gain of over 1,500%. Since the high, NIO stock price has been in a long-term downtrend, falling 94% over the last 3 years, into the recent low of $3.61. For a company like NIO, the current price of around $4 does look like great value, but it's still not clear whether the price has stopped falling. By applying a trend line, we can see that price fell away at a steady angle into the low of $8.38 during October 2022. The more recent monthly trend line shows NIO's price decline is slowing down, possibly looking for a bottom. If we look at November and December's closing price of $4.48 and $4.36 respectively, the difference is only 2.6%. And as I record this video, January's bar is also closing at $4.36, with the open and closing prices being very close together. This suggests selling interest is becoming weaker and may attract more buyers to buy up the stock. Marking up the chart with key price levels, the current all-time high is $66.99. Off this price peak, price pulled back and found support at $30. The original float price for NIO was $6.26, so we'll mark that for reference. And the current all-time low is $1.19. with the most recent low being $3.61. Now, looking at these key levels for NIO, price is currently trading sideways in between the float price and the most recent price low. Although price found support at $3.61 in April and August, it is unclear if the bottom is in. And if price falls further, the next support level would be the all-time low of $1.19. So, based on this, where is NIO heading in 2025? And should you invest? The answer based on the current chart is no, but you should definitely add NIO to your watch list. For an indication that NIO may be moving up, a price break above the September peak of $7.71 would be a good start. Following this break to the upside, we would then need to see selling interest at this new level. If price can hold above the IPO level of $6.36 and then move up once again, this would provide the first signal that NIO could be starting a new uptrend. According to Wall Street analysts, revenue growth of 60% is expected for NIO for the year, and they've set a price target of $6.63, which provides an upside potentially of 60%. Going into 2026, Wall Street estimates a price of $7.80 with another strong 50% increase in revenue. Heading into 2027, Wall Street expects the stock price to jump to $13 with another strong 50% plus revenue growth year over year. And in 2028, NIO's revenue is forecasted to generate around $36 billion, with Wall Street suggesting a stock price estimate of $26, or a gain of over 500% over the current stock price. So overall, based on my analysis of NIO, what is my price prediction for the end of 2025? Based on the chart data, I can see NIO reaching between $6 to $7 by the end of 2025, which compared with the current price of $4.36, offers investors a potential return of between 37 to 60%. Now, if you found value in my analysis of NIO, please consider subscribing to support the channel. For the full year of 2024, NIO delivered a total of 221,970 vehicles, marking an increase of 38% year over year. Of this total, the NIO brand delivered over 201,000 new vehicles, a 25% increase year over year, whilst Onvo delivered over 20,000 new vehicles. And looking at December 2024, NIO delivered over 31,000 vehicles, exceeding 30,000 units for the first time. And this was a strong increase of 72% year over year. The December deliveries consisted of over 20,000 vehicles from the premium brand NIO and 10,528 vehicles from the family-orientated brand Onvo. And since September, NIO sub-brand Onvo has been selling the new L60, with November sales reaching over 10,000 units. And within 100 days of launch, the cumulative delivery volume for the L60 has exceeded 20,000 units, leading the EV industry in terms of delivery speed. And NIO's budget-friendly brand Onvo is expanding. From September the 1st to the present, the number of Onvo showroom stores has expanded to 300, covering a total of 82 cities in China. And from an after-sales support perspective, there are now a total of 317 Onvo service centres covering 172 cities in China. Further, as of the end of December 2024, over 1,000 NIO power swap stations are now open, and they're all compatible with the new L60, with more battery swap stations in development. So overall, the NIO brand sales data looks positive, but what about the share price? For the week ending February the 7th, shares of NIO were down 2% compared with the previous week. The stock traded as high as $4.50 with a low of $4.11. And this peak of $4.50 did break through the downtrend line temporarily, only for sellers to come back in and push the price back down with a close of $4.24. On the daily chart, we can see that Monday's trading opened at $4.17, pushed down to $4.11 before closing higher at $4.28. Although Tuesday saw the weekly peak of $4.50, price closed under the short-term trend line on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, suggesting that price is currently tracking sideways, with neither the buyers nor the sellers taking control. NIO has been the subject of several recent research reports. For example, Macquarie lowered NIO from an outperform rating to a neutral rating and reduced their price target for the company from $6.60 to $4.80 in a report published during November the 20th. The Goldman Sachs Group also cut NIO from a neutral rating to a sell rating and dropped their price target for the stock from $4.80 to $3.90 in a report published on November 25th. HSBC lowered shares of NIO from a buy to a hold rating in their publication on January the 7th. And finally, JP Morgan also downgraded NIO from an overweight rating to a neutral rating and reduced their price target for the company from $7 to $4.70 in a report last week. Based on my Self-Wealth stockbroker report, which is powered by Versus Analytics, the consensus of 26 analysts have NIO rated as a buy. However, based on the chart, I'm not convinced. Based on the recent price action, there is just not enough confirmation that the buyers are in control and NIO is ready to move up. For confirmation that $4, the recent low, is the bottom and NIO is starting a new medium-term uptrend, we need to see the following technical signals. First, we need to see a clear break above the medium-term trend line, then a retest to check how committed the buyers are to the move upwards. A price break above $4.90 with a retest would be the first signal to get me interested. And if price holds above $4.90 and then moves up, the next key level of resistance would be around $6. After this, $7.70, which is the most recent peak. So a short-term trade from $4.90 to the potential $7.70 peak would yield a strong return of around 50%. However, for long-term investors, a break and retest of the $7.70 level would indicate that NIO is moving up over the medium term, offering a possible medium risk entry point. Above $7.70, the next price target would be around $9.50. And after this level, the next possible target could be around $14 to $16. Right now, NIO is tracking sideways, so we must wait for the chart to confirm each signal one by one.